Hello. Um, I know that I'm pretty gross right now because I just got off work and I'm covered in mud and God knows what. But um, I had just wanted to. I was thinking about something, and it came into my brain, and I just needed to get it out. But um, I was thinking of. I mean, obviously, there's been huge shifts lately, and there's a lot of stuff coming through, and I mean, definitely like with all the portals opened and the activations and the ascensions, and it's like so much coming through. But I was thinking of kind of changing the format up just a little bit, and it's going to be kind of a hodgepodge, I guess, because some messages will be channeled messages, some messages will be things that come through from spirit that need to be communicated. Some things will be a way for me to teach you things that I've learned and help you along your path. And some things we'll learn together because there'll be things that I'm learning at the same time and I can teach myself. But I just think that mainly with all the information coming through, there was a couple of things that I had in mind, and the main thing that was coming through was the Christ consciousness. Little geese up above. So with the Christ consciousness coming through very strongly in this last activation, and I was thinking about what that means because I think that's always been something that I've worked on personally. It's like studying the philosophies of like Buddha and doing no harm and, finding peace in situations, and studying the philosophy of like the Christ consciousness and loving your neighbor and, basically the same kind of a concept of like do no harm, right? To create peace where you go and to not create hate and not to focus on the hate or to focus on the differences between people. And that's a hard point for me because there's so many different variables in that. It's like, well, a bug just went up my nose. But the variables are if people are acting in a way that causes hurt to another person, how do you love that behavior and how do you love that person, right? It's like, it's kind of mind-blowing for me because it's something that I haven't seemed to figure out the details on yet. I mean, a lot of stuff has been coming in as far as like what those details should look like, but then it's hard to know how to actually put that into practice. And, I think of like the angelic realm and angels. I mean, they don't just sit back and allow things to happen that are messed up things. I mean, there is justice that's involved, and there is like spiritual wrath, creating balance and creating, righting a situation that's been wronged. So it's not like the angels are always about love and ponies and unicorns and happiness and peace. I mean, there is a aspect of wrath that comes up, and I think for me it's a matter of finding the balance between the two. It's like, when are you in a space of love and when are you in a space of pursuing spiritual justice and waging war spiritually, And I think that the hardest part for me is loving somebody's behavior even though it's not something that fits with your morals or with your personality, or who you are at your core. And that's something that I've been grappling with, just trying to understand how to love my neighbors when I don't always agree with them. And learning to learn from others, and learning to listen to their stories and not just say like, well, your story doesn't matter because you pissed me off. So, but learning to listen to their stories as well, and learning to value them as a person, and learning to see beyond the behavior, I think it's really hard. And that is kind of where I'm at right now as a person in my development, is figuring out how to balance all of those things out. And just really wrapping my head around what the word unconditional love means, because there's so much that, like, that's so deep. And if I say unconditional love to me means that you love somebody unconditionally, but then what does that mean? I mean, obviously we still have to have boundaries, and obviously we still have to have, we have to have our own personal boundaries set in place. But the Christ consciousness and the spiritual concept of like unconditional love, what does that mean? And so as I get more downloads on that, as I get more information on that, I will share it with you, and maybe we can all rise up together and figure out like how to actually become unified, because right now there's so much division and so much separation and so much hate that breeds hate. And it's like, so how do we get away from the situation of the people that are hurting those that we care about, and the people that are hurting the groups that we support and that we want to be behind, and our friends and our family? Like, if somebody's hurting them, how do we continue to not act from a place of hate ourselves? Like, how do we not end up hating the people that are creating hate? And I think that that's a really big concept for me right now, and I'm trying to come at it from a place, like a heart-based place, and I'm trying to come at it from not so much a logical place, because logic is going to tell me one thing, right? But I'm trying to come at it from a heart space and think about it from a spiritual perspective. And I think that that's there's a lot of depth involved in that. And so but that's a download that I've been receiving lately, is just the matter of like, what does all of that mean to me personally, and what does it mean for us as a collective? And so that's one of our learning lessons, I guess. So if you have comments that you want to share on that, please let me know, and we can try and work through this together. But I think that that's definitely where I want to be. I want to be in a space where I have a very spiritual mindset, and I have an elevated mindset. And if you think of like the monks and the Buddha and things like that, I mean, they accepted everyone, and it wasn't a matter of judging. It wasn't a matter of like looking down on somebody, or looking, saying like, I'll only love you if your story resonates with what I believe in. I mean, there's a depth that accepts everyone. And how do I get to that place? How do I get to a place where I can accept everyone and still keep myself? And so it's going to be a journey, I think. But anyways, I hope all is well with everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. And I was thinking last night, a download that came into my brain was about again, about spiritual warfare. And I was thinking of, like, you know, what we need to do to rise up as warriors and as earth angels, you know, like, what do we need to do to step up and protect the new earth that we're trying to create, and the, you know, bring things into a state of unity and balance. And I haven't figured that out yet, because like I said, if you respond with anger and you respond with, you know, violence, then that just begets more violence, and it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't bring us closer together as people. It just keeps us divided, and it's not what I want. So yeah, anyways, racking my brain. Okay, bye guys.